river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me. Run through.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have one of our favorite authors. In fact, we were just talking about it. He was on when the show began in 2012, so we've been here now over 9 years doing this show. I hope you're enjoying it. We really do. Julien Ayotte is back with us, and he has written yet another one. And this one is called The Treasure. Welcome, Julien.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Did you decide the cover?
Yes, except for the back cover. The back cover, I got permission from a guy who went to the island in the book.
Yeah.
And he was there as part of a cleanup crew because the island ends up being an island that is well known,
Right.
Which I can't tell you right now. And so all he wanted was to get a photo credit inside the book that I used his photo. But the front cover, yes, I designed myself. I do all my covers with a woman in California, whom I've had since my second book. So she has done for me 6 books, and everyone keeps getting better. People love pretty covers. There's something about a book that it could be great, but if it's a lousy cover, sometimes you just don't attract people to look at it.
That's what I tell my friends who have, is that silly? The Nookie thing, the Kindle, what is that thing that they read it on a machine, the computer? What is that?
I haven't a clue.
Yeah, Nook.
Oh, a Nook is a part of Barnes and Noble's.
Yeah, but you can't pick the book up. You can't feel a new book.
I have. It's funny you say that because I talked to a friend of mine this morning, and he bought my first 3 books on the Kindle. And he said, I had to get off. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Flipping the pages like this, it's not like holding a book.
And seeing the cover, I mean, you're looking at the cover and...
Put a bookmark in, you put it down, you pick it up again.
Portable.
And I can't see a Kindle or one of these electronic devices when you're sitting at the beach. It doesn't seem to fit the motif of a beach to me.
You know, well, we bring our books to the beach a lot, too. On the back, this is about his latest book, The Treasure. The contents of 2 boxes lead to an unforgettable discovery. Now, I'm going to give a brief here from the back, and he's going to take it from there. Sebastian Reynolds, a noted Canadian columnist, teams up with Colonel Jerome Woodrow, a retired Vietnam veteran with a heart of gold, to find the killer of his old military comrade on a Caribbean island. Today, they unearth a treasure from the past. From the Nova Scotia Peninsula, I've been up there, to a South Sea island, to a villa on Turks and Caicos, and to the rolling hills of Virginia. Talk about a trip. The quest for pirated riches from long ago leads to murder, intrigue, and an unexpected romance along the way. Go for it. Tell us about when you started and the whole idea.
Well, as you know, in my past books, I haven't a clue what I'm going to write about.
Yeah.
And I pick up a pen and I started writing about Sebastian Reynolds, who worked for the Chronicle in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I don't know why I picked it, but I told my friend that I would write a book about Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And so I had to get a newspaper from Nova Scotia. Anyway, this guy, Sebastian Reynolds, he's in his early 60s. He's been a reporter for his whole life. He's getting tired. But one morning he comes in and he has, normally his mail is on his seat in his office, which is nothing more for most reporters than a little cubicle.
Yeah.
And there he flips through the stuff, which is mostly junk mail or things that belong to other columnists or something like that. And he notices a letter that is handwritten, which always attracts him, because a handwritten letter means that somebody took the time to write the letter to you, and it's not a form or a bill.
Yep.
And the letter indicates that this guy has an interesting story to tell him. He hasn't a clue who this guy is, but he feels that this guy took the time to write a personal letter to me. I'm going to find out what it's all about. So he calls him. And he asked him, "Can you tell me what it's about?" And the guy says, "No,
No, I don't. I want to tell you.
I can't tell you over the phone." As he's like almost paranoid.
He wants to come.
And so
here.
this guy is like 80 years old. He's a retired Vietnam colonel.
Yeah.
A very nice guy. His wife died a year or two ago, and he's kind of a lonely man, but he has something that might interest the reporter and make a good story. And that is a box or two boxes that they find, which include charts and maps and an old cloth map that looks like it was drawn in ink and embedded there, and it looked really old. And so the reporter looks at this stuff and he says, "This sounds very interesting. This might be a great story."
Yeah.
But I mean, what? I don't know yet. I have no idea. I'm not a guy who can analyze these things here, but I do know someone who does treasure hunting, and it's the son of a teacher here at one of the colleges in Nova Scotia. So I'm going to ask her to call her son and see if she can get him to take a look at this and see if there's anything there.
I didn't know there was a college in Nova Scotia, and I've been up there.
Oh, there's several.
Okay.
There's several, yeah. St. Mary's is the college I'm talking about. And anyway, that's where a potential romance begins, because this is someone he knew years and years ago. She's in her 50s, close to his age. So the whole premise is that I have no clue why my friend, who lives in a Caribbean island of Turks and Caicos, would send me two boxes full of maps and stuff like that, with no letter included. But there were other letters in there, and they were basically love letters between his old comrade and a woman from years ago. And so, one thing leads to another. They have experts look at what's in there, and they look like the map is genuine, and the location of the map is the next thing they want to determine. But in the meantime, and I'm going to cut it pretty short here, in the meantime, this old guy's buddy in the Caribbean gets murdered with no witnesses.
And he's the one that sent the boxes.
He's the one who sent the boxes.
So this guy has no idea what's going on.
No, it doesn't, has no idea what's going on. He figures maybe he sent the boxes to me because he was dying.
Yeah.
And so he wanted me to have them.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what was in them, and he didn't want to bother with it. Or maybe he thought he was in danger by holding what was in the boxes, and so he wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So the investigation begins with the help of the columnist Sebastian Reynolds. And Colonel Woodrow is just a real nice fellow. He's a very lonely man, but he's got a heart of gold. That's even in the back cover. And he likes to reward people who do good things for people. And so, I mean, the story in and of itself, I couldn't have told you from one day to the next where the heck I was going with it.
You just go off the seat of your pants.
I just go right off and I write. And then the following day when I get up, I haven't a clue where I'm going, but I get there.
Do you sit there and just type as it comes in your mind?
Actually, I write longhand.
As it comes in your mind?
Oh, yes.
You just write?
Right, I write.
Do you get a journal to write, or just take papers?
I have a 150-page loose leaf binder that I buy at Ocean State Job Lot for like $1.50.
Yeah.
Okay, and I usually fill up 2 of those or more.
For one book, right?
Yeah, for one book. Right, and I just start writing out of nowhere. I started my 8th book, and I started writing about a body that was found on the beach at Cape Cod.
Oh, awesome.
In Provincetown. So I'm going off to another place. You notice that every book that I write
goes different places.
Goes to all different places. And what I have been told by people, which I enjoy, is that you take me to places that I've never been to and may never get to, but when I finish reading your book, I feel like I've been there.
Exactly.
And that makes me feel great.
Now, on any of your books, Julien, have you been to any of those places?
I've been to almost all of them, except Nova Scotia.
You've got to go to Nova Scotia. It's a long trip.
I've been to most places in my books. The other place that I didn't go in my book was Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And that was in my second book, Dangerous Bloodlines, where one of the twin sons was working at a hospital in a town called Mekelle, Ethiopia. My daughter had been to Ethiopia, so she gave me a lot of information on it.
Yeah.
And then when I finished that section on that particular country, she came back to me and said, "Unbelievable, you got it, you nailed it there. You told me exactly what it's about, and that's the location." But all the other places, Oviedo, Italy, places in Paris, France, and Stockholm, Sweden, all of these other places I've been to.
Yeah.
And but I have to tell you in all honesty that in my fourth book, Disappearance, which is about the Witness Protection Program, I can honestly say that I have not been to Worley, Idaho, or to Cottonwood, Arizona, or some of these places where the Witness Protection Program places witnesses.
Well, yeah, but we're not supposed to know that, right? I mean, isn't that part of the deal? Did you make it up? You make up the towns?
No, these are real places.
But yeah, but if that's really...
no, I don't know that that's where they hide them. I mean, these are just two towns. If it's true, some guys are in trouble right now.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I just grabbed these two and I said, the logic of the Witness Protection Program, which is going off a bit, but the logic of the Witness Protection Program is that they want to place you in a place that you likely never heard of or would never go to.
Yeah.
Because if you tell them, I'd like to move to Phoenix, Arizona, you can bet you'll never go there. Because if you want to go to Phoenix, Arizona, chances are somebody else knows it.
Yeah.
And you've told somebody about it. If I ever retire, I'm going to retire to Phoenix. So you don't want that. But no one in my lifetime has ever mentioned retiring in Worley, Idaho. And it's a little town of nothing. So that is the logic of the Witness Protection Program. Now, getting back to the treasure.
We're talking with Julien Ayotte, and he is the author of The Treasure, another book by Julien, and he has been with us. Oh my gosh, the show began in 2012. And I don't know how many books now have we gone through.
This is 7. That's number 7. And I'm working on number 8 as we
How can people get a hold of your book, Julien?
My book is available, first of all, on Amazon through a Kindle or a paperback edition.
Yeah.
It is also available on my website, www.julianayotte.com, and that's Julien with an E, not with an A. And also, if you send me an email at my address, it is jpahome@cox.net. And I can answer a question because there are people sometimes, classrooms, teachers want to order a whole bunch of books, and they're looking for a special deal, which I certainly would accommodate. And so they send me an email laying out the groundwork. But I'm also at several bookstores. I'm at Stillwater bookstores.
Oh, yeah, Peter, what's his name?
Steve Porter.
Steve Porter and his wife, Dawn?
His wife, Dawn, yes.
Dawn, yeah.
That's correct.
Stillwater Press.
They're in the heart of downtown Pawtucket.
Yeah.
And they're also publishers, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
So my books are there. My books are also at Phantom Farms in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
What's Phantom Farms? A bookstore?
Phantom Farms is it's one of those places where you pick up plants and pumpkins and,
Well, you live in Cumberland, right? So that's good.
Yeah, you can sit there, have a cup of coffee and some Danish and stuff like that. So it's like a hangout.
Yeah.
A very, very popular place in Cumberland.
Do they have authors come and speak there?
They do not.
Okay.
No, they do not.
You could start that.
It's not big enough for it to do it. I have to speak up. But I have sold books there.
Yeah.
And my books are there to sell. My books are also at Tatnick Booksellers up off Route 9. And I have sold a lot of books there. As a matter of fact, all my books are there now, even on consignment. They have them on display because they show what they call local authors.
It's like our library here. We have the whole local authors section.
Yes. Well, I found over the years that bookstores really aren't as lucrative a place for me to sell my books as my selling them myself at various events. And I line up about 20 or 30 book events already
Yep.
for this year after a drought of a year of doing absolutely
Well, it's like what I
nothing.
tell my authors. I say, there are many, many more venues than just a bookstore and a library, which are good. But I said, even arts and crafts fairs are good because you're likely to be the only author sitting there, and people are going to gravitate to something different.
Right.
And by God, it's right.
On Columbus Day weekend, I go to the Mendon Lions Fair.
Yeah. How about the Hopedale Day in the park in September? I'm
Right.
going to be there. You'd like it.
Though I'll look into it.
Yeah.
I also go to the Situate Art Fair, which is huge, and it's that whole Columbus Day weekend. So on Saturday I'm at the Mendon Lions Fair, but on Sunday and Monday I'm at the Situate. But then I go to the Crown Plaza in Warwick, and they have small business Saturdays after Thanksgiving, little farmers markets, a lot of fairs, a lot of craft fairs. New Bedford has its Whaling City Fair,
Yeah.
which we were scheduled to go to last year, but again, everything was canceled.
Even
so.
the one in Cranston we were talking about, the Rhode Island authors.
Yes, that's correct.
That thing is huge.
Rhodes on the Patuxent. There's 125 authors
I
there.
couldn't possibly. I was overwhelmed when I walked in, and I was talking with one of the authors who said she felt overwhelmed. I mean, it was one right after the other, and tons of rows.
But I have to be honest with you. I'd rather sell my books at a place where there's 100 vendors and only 4 authors.
Yes, that's a good point.
Okay?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not competing with 120 other authors who are there. Obviously, people go there to buy books because that's all they have is
Right.
books.
Do you ever get to
And-
the senior centers, Julien?
What's that?
The senior centers love.
Oh,
to have this.
yeah, well, I am speaking at 2 senior centers in Rhode Island. One is the Patuxent Valley Historical Society
Yep.
in West Warwick, and they've had me there. The Warwick Library has a Tuesday night guest speaker, and I'll be there in the fall.
Yeah.
And I speak anywhere and everywhere. Now, what's interesting, if I may, is that since I started this, which was something they talk about waking up a sleeping tiger. I mean, I thought that I would write one book and write into the sunset and play golf and tennis. And then,
Yeah.
no sooner than a month after I wrote the book that people said, well, when's the next one coming out?
Yeah.
And the Treasure's only been out since December,
Yeah.
and I've had that question asked to me, how are you doing on the next book? And I'm saying, you got to be kidding me. Well, people finish it and they want another one.
Exactly.
And they don't realize that writing a book takes as long as a year if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
My goal, and it could be a pipe dream, but everybody has to have one, is to have one of these turn into a film.
I can see the Codename Lily book that Julie and Ayotte
Well-
wrote, and also this one, The Treasure, and the one about the protective,
Yes.
witness protective. Again, we're talking with Julien Ayotte. He's a favorite here. He's been on our show since it began. And he's written The Treasure. It jumps from, Nova Scotia and an island. I mean, it's all over the lot, the mystery.
Yeah.
It
is.
And it just came to you as you're writing.
As I'm writing, the thoughts come to me, and when I don't have a thought, I don't write. I just put it aside and go plant some flowers or something. But you just,
Yeah.
I don't know, like the one I started, I just started it one afternoon, and I didn't really know where I was going with it or what I was going to talk about. And I just started by saying there's a body on the beach.
Yeah, that's the next one coming out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my new one, which I haven't a name for yet.
No, okay.
I mean, I've written 2 or 3 chapters and
Yeah.
don't have a clue where it's going and when it'll be done.
But Diamond and Pearls, I know I have the book. Didn't you send it to me? And were you were on or not? With
Well, I don't think we met last year because
The COVID.
my only book signing was on February 20th,
Yeah.
and that was at my local church. After that, everything was closed
March. Yep.
completely. So it's about a female burglar.
Yep.
Okay, and she's in way over her head. I mean, this is. She thought this would be a great way to make extra income when the real estate market wasn't doing so well, and she still needed money because she spends. Has high spending habits, but she's not a bad woman. She doesn't hurt people. She just steals.
Yeah.
Until she, as they say, meets her match, and the match is an insurance investigator who was investigating the theft of a stolen strand of pearls, and the guy's name is Drew Diamond. Mm-hmm. So the name of the book becomes Diamond and Pearls.
Where can they get that book, Julien?
That book is everywhere.
It's still
I mentioned my other books are. It's the easiest way is to really go to my website, because you can buy them all there. Or if you don't want to buy them directly from me, there are links that will take you to Amazon or Nook or wherever you choose to go.
What's your contact info again?
My website is www.julianayotte.com, and that's Julien with an E, Julien, AYOTTE.com. Now let me tell you a quick side story, and we'll see where that goes. I decided that, as I mentioned earlier, I would love to see one of my books turn into a film, whether it be a full-length film or a TV miniseries. I don't really care. I just think, and everyone who reads my book says, what a great movie this would make. And I yeah, well, that's nice, but it's not that easy. But there are some new organizations out there who accept copies of books or screenplays, a script. So I wrote 2 scripts in the last 4 months. I wrote the script for Codename Lily, and I wrote the script for Disappearance. They're totally different budgets. They're totally different in the way they are. One is historical fiction along the lines of a Schindler's List, like that. And Disappearance is more an investigatory type detective, which can be made for a much lower budget, because you don't need, I mean, you wouldn't know Wally, Idaho if I told you. So they could film in Bellingham, Massachusetts, or Upton, for all you know. So I sent these scripts into a couple of these spots that do direct connections with producers. And I have to tell you that I sent my first one out on April 26th. It's not that long ago.
No.
It's not even a month. So far, I've had 22 producers looking at both books.
Seriously, that's great.
I mean, nothing may come of it.
That is so great.
Nothing may come of it, but
Were they individual producers, or were they like Hollywood producers?
These are production companies, that I've never heard of. But when I go onto a website or I Google it to find what they're film companies.
So you got 20 of them. What did you do from there? Did you write back to them?
You have to wait. There's a protocol on those particular websites to do this, and they tell you that you have to wait at least 3 or 4 weeks, and then you can follow up by sending direct communications to them. But I had a couple of producers whose names I don't want to really divulge, but I had a couple of them who went back to that website 3 times to reread the same information.
You can tell by the hits on the site.
They show them to you. They list them, the time, the date, and there were 22 of them listed. And I said, "Oh, wow!" And I was just excited. Somebody read the synopsis. That's all they start off with. So anyway, there's some news going on, and
this is
this old geezer is still out there. And
and now there was another book. What did we want? Was it Diamond and Pearls we wanted to talk about, or which one?
Yeah, Diamond and Pearls.
Okay.
Because it came out in February, right at the heart and the beginning of the pandemic, I really never got a chance to talk about it. And that one has been exceptionally well received too. I've gotten something like a 4.8 out of 5 star rating from Amazon, from about 20 or 25 reviews. And again, you can't have a heck of a lot of reviews when there's not really a venue for you to go out there to promote the book.
Exactly.
but the book is, I think, a real good story. The coincidences in stories are always amazing to me. This insurance investigator works for an insurance company in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
I've been there.
And
is the mall still there by any chance?
what's that?
The Lincoln Mall in Rhode Island?
Oh yes, it's still there.
Okay.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
used to live down
well,
here.
just before the Lincoln Mall, there are a series of insurance companies.
Yeah.
Alan Amica is there, and so I took an insurance company, and I said, here's a detective who retired and went to work for them to investigate some of their claims.
Yeah.
And one of the claims was this woman who had her pearls stolen.
Yeah.
And he is moving out of the Worcester area into Lincoln, and he's looking for a place to live. So he calls a realtor who has a condo up for sale. Guess who the realtor is?
The thief? Are you serious? Oh my God! It's the girl that said she's. Oh, okay, I gotta find my copy and read it.
You never know the endings of my book.
Okay, now let's get to the present. All right, first of all, this is the latest.
Yes.
The Treasure, Julien Ayotte, another mystery, another place all over the lot. You are working on the next one,
Which is number 8.
number 8, and you're not going to tell us the title.
Not at all.
Oh, it's not fair.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, you think this will take a year?
It may not. It
This
may
didn't
not.
take a year. You did this during the pandemic.
What do you do during a pandemic? You can't go out?
Yeah.
You can't even go to a restaurant.
No. Bookstores, though, you can go in with your mask on,
No.
Tatnuk.
Let me tell you really that my wife certainly would have loved to see me out of the house. But since I was stuck there, I said I must write another book. And I just started writing it. That's my longest book.
This is the longest one, The Treasure. Now,
Yep.
there's going to be a copy downstairs in the
Yes.
Upton Library.
Yep.
We have that dedicated local authors book area. And there comes another one that Julia's going to write.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy The Treasure very
How
much.
late night do you do this in the daytime, or are you a night owl with your books?
Oh no, during the day.
All right.
I write morning and afternoons, and I do not write at night.
Do you have your own den, your own office?
I have my chair. I have a chair that is my writing chair.
Your writing chair. So you do it in your lap.
It's it's like this. It's a chair like this, and I have a pad, and I sit there and I write. And
You were like this at school. I remember I've asked you this a zillion times, but you didn't do this in school, did you, when you were a kid?
Oh no,
You had a, my gosh, you've got your MBA business.
I have a PhD also in finance. So, this came about in 1987 when I had 10 chapters of my first book written, and I put it aside because I was the executive director of a large law firm, and I said I just don't have time to write, and I have a couple of kids in college, so my mind was not in it. When I retired in 2002, I was cleaning out my desk, and there was this manuscript where I said chapter 1 was so old that the paper was yellow.
But did that morph into the first book?
Yes, it became Flower of Heaven. I was going to chuck it and go play tennis and golf. My daughter said, "Let me read this."
Yeah.
And after she read it, she said, "Oh, Dad, you've got to finish this. This is great." And I said, "Oh, gee." So I did, but and I opened a proverbial can of worms because look what's happened. I mean, since that first book that came out in 2013.
We got to wrap this up. I don't want to.
We are. 8 years later, and I'm working on my 8th book.
Unstoppable.
Well,
all right.
I'm happy that I found this newfound career, if you will.
It'll keep you sharp for a long time.
I'm glad.
About 1 minute left. Julien, hopefully you'll be back. I can't say much more about that because it's sort of a town thing.
Maybe before the end of the year.
Yeah, by the end of the year. Don't forget, you could borrow this downstairs, The Treasure. You could buy it online from Julien. You could go to Tatnuk, Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yes. Oh,
You know,
yes.
don't be shy because if you've ever been to Nova Scotia, I have. I went with my parents. long drive from Wilbraham, Massachusetts.
Yes.
So we're going to have him back again, hopefully. Julien, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, as always.
We'll see you next time.
Then it seems moving through the cloudless sky, heading out toward the moon. I am dancing to the lunar tune. Life goes by